A young woman falls for a boxer with a deadly pair of fists. When he fails to make his mark in the ring, they embark on a cross-country rampage, duping victims before unleashing killer blows in an unstoppable, wicked attraction. The city of Slidell lies in complete contrast to the neighboring party town of New Orleans. Here, there's a far more tranquil Louisiana, with miles of bayou. It's a fisherman's dream. But every so often, the leisurely pace of life here is shattered by a storm of one kind or another.
A broken window? And what room is that again? Okay, and what is your name, sir?
In June of 2007, Slidell police receive a complaint from a rundown neighborhood.
They just said that a window was broken at a local hotel. We get criminal damage calls regularly during the day. What I thought I was gonna go and find was somebody that got drunk or got mad, punched the window and hurt their hand. And then to see something like that startled me at first. It's, oh my God, look at this guy. From the amount of blood, he looked like he was dead. I got close to check for vital signs. I could hear him shallow breathing. Send EMS 1018, subject's down, barely breathing.
Has he tried to talk to you?
He's just making moaning noises, that's it.
Sir, can you hear me?
He's fighting to stay alive.
Got a little bit of response to pain.
Sir, can you hear me?
They were trying to stabilize him, but they were also trying to hurry up and get him to the hospital.
He might have had internal injuries also, and we put it as a priority to protect his C-spine. He had multiple lacerations. It looked like he took blows to the head. His eyes were swollen shut. We couldn't determine whether he would, live or die.
Patrol officers start going room to room, see if anybody witnessed anything, if they heard anything over the night, and try to find out as much information as we can.
He's been bludgeoned with several objects, including a wooden club.
That would take an awful lot of force to break that. It'd be almost similar to breaking a baseball bat over somebody.
It had to be a pretty strong and horrific beating, and by more than one person.
Get in here, come on.
Blood spatter also tells a story.
It spatters out in different directions. That's going to tell you where the head was, basically, when it was struck by the object. Was the subject on the floor and struck? Were they on the bed? Were they standing up? It was an indication that the subject was hit several times while in different positions.
There's an ID belonging to a man named Joe Welch. But a receipt confirms the room was registered to a Cody Martinez. Martinez is a 28-year-old woman from Cutoff, Louisiana, a town 2 hours south of Slidell. She has a record for drug possession and some traffic violations, but nothing to suggest she could be violent. Slidell detectives asked the local police to try and find her. Cody Martinez grew up in Bayou country in a working-class family.
Cody's parents split when she was 2 years old, and her older sister went with her mother, and Cody ended up with her father. Cody's father remarried when Cody was still quite young, and the effect of that was for Cody to feel rejected.
After 6th grade, she dropped out of school.
She was bright. She was basically getting bored in the classroom.
But Cody Martinez is troubled by a dark secret. She confides in her mother that she had been sexually molested by a family member.
I actually didn't find out about it till she was 16. She was very angry because of what had happened. And always had the question, why can't I just let it go? She had a hard time just letting that part go.
Childhood sexual assault, as Cody experienced quite young, often produces a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder, which is characterized by very high levels of anxiety and uncertainty.
By the age of 20, it seems as though the painful memories are fading as she falls in love with an older local man. They marry in 1998.
They were like two peas in a pod, and they were very happy. They started talking about having a baby.
But the marriage is doomed even before it's blessed. Cody Martinez believes the man she loves cheated on her on the eve of the wedding.
Another rejection. What she learned once again was that men cannot be trusted.
She took it really hard. She said, I had my heart and soul into him.
Police learn Martinez has left town. And they're baffled as to why she might be involved in such a brutal attack on Joe Welch. He knows all the answers, but remains unconscious.
Because of the seriousness of the injuries and that he had suffered during the brutal attack, he was transferred from one of our local hospitals to a hospital in New Orleans.
Joe Welch had been left for dead, and his life remains in peril. What appears to have started as a brawl in a motel room will soon escalate into a massive manhunt as the body count starts to rise. Three days after he was savagely beaten and left for dead in a motel room in Slidell, Louisiana, Joe Welch regains consciousness and tells police what he remembers.
I remember, them face I never forget. I never forget those faces. I see no faces now.
Joe opens his swollen eyes and picks out Cody Martinez from a photo lineup. But he confirms a man she was with had inflicted most of his injuries. Joe says his ordeal began when he went out to buy a drink. A stranger had befriended him and offered free beer.
He seemed like he was just a regular, common guy,
Okay. At least check it out. It can't hurt. Come on now. Come on now. It's gonna be good.
Hi.
Cody Martinez played her part in this deadly deception.
Nice to see you.
What's your name?
She was laying across the bed,
Joe began to realize he was being set up, but it was too late.
I got a bad vibe. The next day I know, and put a knife around my throat. In fact, if you look right down, it's a knife wound. And tell me he gonna cut, split my throat.
What are you doing, man? Get off of me, God!
When my jaw was broke, and I knocked out my front teeth. I had teeth when I went up there. I thought I was a goner.
Joe's attackers were convinced he had drugs and money, but $20 and some spare clothes is all they can find to steal.
The last time I remember saying in the end was, Lord help me. And after then, I don't know nothing else.
Joe Welch confirms from another police photo lineup that Cody Martinez was with her boyfriend. Jeremy Brooks has a record for drug and gun possession, but is more well known for his fists. His bad boy image and ability to charm wins Martinez over on a blind date.
He was a boxer. She really liked him, she said. I just told her to be careful.
Cody idolized Jeremy, calling him the person who made her feel like number one.
Brooks was raised in Greenwood, Louisiana, another child of a broken marriage. He turns into a rebellious teenager, and at 16 is kicked out of his mother's home for refusing to go to school or get a job. So Brooks focuses on the one thing that comes easy to him.
I've seen guys like him, come and go. These tough guys off the street, used to street fighting, figure they might as well get paid for hurting people, and they think it's easy.
He has dreams of becoming a pro boxer and enters the ring as an amateur heavyweight.
How he got that was probably between him and the promoter. I didn't see any superstar in him, so I don't know why he got it. His promoter / manager had approached me about training, but I'd seen him in the gym very few times. He didn't want to learn the fundamentals. You could tell he wasn't interested in hearing anything except, pay me and let me beat somebody up.
Yet, in the eyes of Cody Martinez, he's a champ.
They filled each other's needs. Cody wanted to be loved and cherished, and at first Jeremy displayed that to her. Jeremy, on the other hand, wanted to be idolized to feed his narcissism.
The couple experiment with crack and crystal meth.
It had to be she was attracted to the to the bad boys, to the tough guys, because he was a tough guy.
For a time, Brooks is on top of the world, partying all night and pummeling opponents by day. He wins his first few fights, but victories in the ring, like a drug high, are short-lived.
That's it for Superstar. That's it. It's over.
Brooks soon realizes boxing is more than just the glory in the ring. It requires training and dedication, which seems like too much hard work to him. He finally quits the sport after losing in early round knockouts. Police arrive at a house the lovers have been sharing in Cutoff, but they're too late. They're on the move after being kicked out by a relative for turning the house into a drug haven. Investigators have no idea they've traveled 700 miles north and are in Louisville, Kentucky, where they're surviving on free food from a soup kitchen. Martinez is using her charm to impress Robert Elliott, a volunteer, who invites them to stay at his home. Once again, they outstay their welcome.
Hey, if you're gonna do that, you gotta get out of here. I mean, you gotta get out of here. I can't take it. No way. I said shut up.
Brooks uses his fists to stun, then goes in for the kill.
Murder does change people. Thinking about killing someone and actually doing it are two different things. And I think in Cody and Jeremy's case, they believed that they had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Brooks makes sure no one will find Robert Elliott until he and his girl have skipped town.
the cravings to get high again begin to dominate their lives. They organize their life around getting the next fix, getting high, and when the high wears off, getting another fix.
It's happening now.
3 days later, Brooks and Martinez are broke again.
Good. I dropped my wallet over there between the trees.
They've also run out of drugs and are looking for a car to steal.
Patrick O'Day had no idea that this was going to be his last day on Earth.
Pretending to need help, Brooks lures O'Day from his vehicle and viciously beats him to death.
By using his fists and pummeling people, it gives him this tremendous sense of masculinity, even hyper-masculinity, as if he is an alpha dog controlling and dominating other people.
Get in the car.
This time, their victim's disappearance immediately raises concern. Patrick O'Day has many friends and relatives.
Mr. O'Day was reported missing by his family when they couldn't contact him. I think he'd only been missing for about 24 hours, but because of his popularity with his family and his friends, that was unusual and out of the ordinary for him.
This is a fella who's, set in his ways. He's an older male, had his job at the clothing store, lived by himself, and very much kept to his routine. And so when he was out of that routine, that was immediately obvious.
Police learn Patrick is well liked.
Patrick O'Day had been coming into the restaurant for 40 years, and he was quite the regular. He always sat at the bar at one particular stool. He was part of our family here.
His disappearance dominates the local news.
It really lit this spark, and people were talking across the city. What might have happened? Where could he be?
He always had a smile on his face. He loved to meet people and get to know them. He was well loved and well respected, and everyone was sort of in a panic mode.
Police fear someone may have taken advantage of Patrick's trusting nature. Two days after his disappearance, that someone is driving his car and using his credit card to buy gas, filmed by security cameras.
We could make out what we thought was Mr. O'Day's car and possibly a white female in it. We saw a pretty stocky white male at the counter, at the register, using the card.
The figure is clearly not Patrick. Police across the state are put on alert. But the Kentucky police have no idea who they are pursuing and don't know they've been ID'd in Louisiana for the attack on Joe Welch. 8 days later, Brooks and Martinez have driven another 700 miles north and have been staking out an isolated farmhouse in Montrose, Minnesota, knowing that there's a woman inside, alone.
Hi, can I help you? Yeah, I sorry to interrupt you, but I lost my cat over in the barn over there. Bless your heart.
In a 2-month rampage in 2007, Jeremy Brooks and Cody Martinez have brutally battered a man in Louisiana and killed 2 other unsuspecting victims in Kentucky. Now, they've arrived at an isolated farmhouse near Minneapolis and know a woman is home alone.
Can I help you? Yeah, I sorry to interrupt you, but I lost my cat over in your barn. Oh, bless your heart.
That was one of their MOs. Martinez would approach people asking for generosity and so on, and Brooks would be kind of lurking in the background.
Where are your keys and your credit cards?
Oh,
I think my purse is downstairs on the counter. Please don't hurt me.
What's your pin? What's your pin?
1047.
Don't move anywhere.
Where are you going? No, please. Don't hurt me. Please. Jeremy, hurt me. Jeremy, what's going on? Jeremy! Stop! Stop!
The next day, Ruth Overson's son makes a horrifying discovery.
Miss Overson's body was found stuffed in a closet. There was evidence of strangulation and suffocation. She was bound. Her body was bound at the wrists and ankles.
Ruth had dedicated her life to children, running a preschool education program for more than 20 years.
She was a lifelong employee of the school system, as I recall, had I believe been retired at that point in time. A very quiet lady, lived with her husband, I think had a couple of sons who were older.
The coroner confirms she received multiple blows to the head before being strangled with an electrical cord.
Jeremy's ability to use his hands as weapons makes him increasingly dangerous. He doesn't have to search for a gun or a knife. If he gets confronted, if he gets angry, if he becomes in a rage, his hands are available to be used as weapons against anybody who might threaten him or confront him.
This is a small area outside the city of Minneapolis. People very upset. A person ends up the victim of violence, in that case right in her own house. You could tell that, that there was a lot of terror in that community.
To police, it looks like a burglary gone bad. Ruth's credit cards are missing from her purse, along with her Jeep. Meanwhile, in Louisville, Kentucky, the search is continuing for Patrick O'Day.
Mr. O'Day was found in the wooded area back here, kind of in a decomposing state, approximately 10, 11 days after his reported missing date.
Mr. O'Day's death consisted of blunt force trauma to the head, multiple strikes. Our state forensic anthropologist was able to reconstruct several blows to the facial area in the head, and I believe there was also some evidence of strangulation.
It was just shock and disbelief. We all mourned for a very long time. It wasn't the same to not see his smiling face in here.
To find a person murdered and cast out in one of the local city parks like that is something that just really shakes a town like this.
Two days later, there's another shocking development.
The neighbors of the complex here started complaining of foul odor and fly infestation.
The odor is coming from the apartment of Robert Elliott.
Yeah, 10-9 dispatch. I got something in the closet here. It's wrapped up in a blanket. I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be a body. Get some down here ASAP.
The body was bound in sheets and duct tape and wire.
The medical examiner confirms through fingerprints that the deceased is Robert Elliott. He'd been strangled with a belt and dead for more than 2 weeks.
Mr. Elliott was a friend to the homeless, himself homeless at times, and although he did have an apartment, he frequented the soup kitchens and the missions and things like that where he hung out with a lot of the homeless people.
He was universally regarded as just one of the nicest fellas, well known for taking in folks who were homeless to kind of crash at his apartment.
Neighbors report having met a young couple named Kelly and Andrew coming in and out of the apartment.
He had allowed them to stay in his home with him. The neighbors also told us that they believed Andrew was employed at a moving and storage warehouse. We were able to locate the warehouse, find some cash checks, and he had left a thumbprint on them.
Back in Minnesota, the police, like their counterparts in Kentucky, watch for any use of credit cards. And once more, surveillance tapes reveal someone is not being too careful. A man is using Ruth Overson's card. And driving her blue Jeep Cherokee with a female passenger inside.
The police were in possession of that surveillance film and circulating it among other police departments.
A week after the bodies of Patrick O'Day, Robert Elliott, and Ruth Overson are discovered, her stolen car is found 700 miles north in Fargo, North Dakota. Forensic technicians lift a clear print, again belonging to Jeremy Brooks.
Mr. Brooks's thumbprint was very clearly imprinted on some plastic packaging of a cell phone. The DNA of Cody Martinez and the DNA of Jeremy Brooks are on items which share the blood DNA of Ruth Overson. So there's no question both of them were there to take part in this.
Police in 3 states realize they are hunting for the same couple, Jeremy Brooks and Cody Martinez. But in Kentucky, the connection is still to be made, as police only have surveillance images and false names. 1,700 miles north of where they began their murderous rampage, Martinez has charmed her way into another home. For the police, it's a race against time to stop them from killing again. In August 2007, police in 3 states are one step behind Jeremy Brooks and Cody Martinez on their drug-fueled murderous rampage.
Brooks was fixated on continuing northwest from Minneapolis and then on into North Dakota. Now, whether there was some object to that or that was just a direction to go, I don't know.
I'm so...
Martinez talks her way into another home, this time in North Dakota.
So dirty, obviously.
Martinez claimed she was hungry, claimed she was just passing through. The lady fed her, had an uneasy feeling about Martinez in her house. If somebody new comes to town, Everybody in town knows it within a short period of time. They want to know what you're doing there and why you're there.
I got a call from the sheriff's office that there's a strange female at this residence here. I walked in the house. She was sitting down eating breakfast.
The sheriff's department has no idea she's a suspected killer being sought throughout the state. Martinez gives a false name
It's Susan Kaplan, actually.
and fools the deputy.
Not really sure where she was going. Said she hitchhiked up here.
If the deputy can check her story, her days of freedom will be at an end. But he's out of luck.
She gave me a name, date of birth. Couldn't verify it because the towers were down.
Go ahead and get you there and see what we can do to help you out.
I had no reason to disbelieve her story. She seemed like a decent person, you know, very social, polite. I had no reason to suspect anything suspicious about her at all.
Later that day, deputies receive another call from the same woman who phoned earlier. A man had come looking for the girl. So she checked the internet to see if the police were seeking anyone and saw photos of Martinez and Brooks. Local, state, and federal law enforcement arrive in force, and a major manhunt begins.
We'd heard that he was a heavyweight boxer, and so we knew he was a bigger man, and then we ran the check on him and found out he was like 6'5" and 230 pounds, 235 pounds. So he was going to be a handful if we were going to have to go hands-on with the guy at some point.
I was kind of more in shock that, I mean, it's the most excitement we've had in this area that I can remember.
Black shirt, blue jeans. If you see him, don't stop.
My concern was, did they have weapons? Did they have guns? Did they have knives, you know?
I mean, everybody was locking their doors and stuff. You know, a lot around here, they're farmers. They all have firearms, so I'm sure they had those loaded and ready to go as well. It was kind of frustrating because I had her in my car, and it would have been all done and over with right then and there had we'd been able to verify who she was or anything like that.
There are soon numerous reported sightings of the suspects. Police call at a local bar and learn that a woman resembling Martinez had stopped by for an hour and been invited to go home with a customer.
After we confirmed this, Chief Deputy, myself, and 2 highway patrolmen went out to the residence to apprehend Martinez.
That was my biggest fear, that we were going to find another body.
Adrenaline was just really flowing hard, and I was pumped up. You had an eerie feeling because you didn't know where Jeremy was at. And I remember walking up to the house with my hand on my gun, just, you know, waiting for something to happen.
Miss Martinez, put the bottle down on the table. Keep your hands where I can see them. Stand up, keep your hands where I can see them. Stand up. Turn around, slowly. Put your hands behind your back. Slowly, put your hands behind your back. Do not move. Do you understand?
She didn't offer any resistance, nothing.
Do not move. Come on.
I wanted to get caught. Tell you the truth.
Martinez says she'd left her lover in a wheat field to scrounge for food and reveals the location.
It was parallel with the highway. Railroad tracks and highway was parallel.
Okay.
Went around the curve. Let's just say about right here. We stopped riding.
When she was cooperating and showing us where Brooks and she had camped out at 3 different areas around the Drake area, so we were looking at those areas. She'd indicated that he wanted to ride the train, so she was convinced that he would be somewhere near the railroad. And we had some other things that had occurred that kind of led us to the area where we concentrated our resources. And we had FBI, U.S. Marshals, the United States Border Patrol. Everybody had the same goal in mind, which was to find the guy and get him in custody and make sure nobody else got hurt. We set up a perimeter around the railroad tracks in town, and we used the local media to ask people to lock their doors and to take their keys out of their cars. We didn't want him getting into the city limits of Drake. We didn't want him getting into a car, and we didn't want him getting into a train. We just wanted to try and maintain him where we were fairly confident where he was at.
We did try to just cover as much ground as we could in the daylight and even into the night, and corner them, get them roped in.
Brooks knows the police are onto him. He hides in Drake's fields and starts fires in an attempt to draw in his pursuers, hoping he can slip through their lines. But the net is getting tighter.
So we knew that he probably hadn't gotten out of there. And we had 2 fields still contained, the 2 areas where we felt strongly that he was going to be in one or the other. One where his 3 previous camping hideouts were, and the other one was where the fire occurred. So we had those locked down pretty tight.
Two days later, he's cornered. There's nowhere left for Brooks to run or hide.
There he is.
But he's killed 3 times already, and now has nothing left to lose.
There he is.
In August 2007, more than 60 officers finally have spree killer Jeremy Brooks cornered in a field in North Dakota.
He was observed by Border Patrol agents and Bureau of Criminal Investigation agents coming out of the field where he was taken into custody.
Turn around away from me. Hands on top of your head. Down on your knees. Don't move. Cover me. Your left hand behind your back. All right, sister, stand up.
So, well,
What?
smelling 6.
What? Shut up. Wow. I never thought it'd been so soon. Really?
He was desperate.
Brooks is surprised he's still alive.
But no, I know I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to make it to the light. If those guys would have been there, I don't think I would have made it.
He's uncooperative, claims he's mentally unstable, and can't recall any of his crimes.
I forgot more stuff than I've ever remembered. See, I don't even think I did anything, but that's the whole point.
Yeah.
But if I did, then if I did commit a crime, then I will go and pay for it. My is on the line.
He wanted to make big that he had all these mental problems, but of course, this is a savvy killer. He knows the game. I'm not going to tell you that he doesn't have mental problems, but I can tell you that there's a penitentiary in this state full of people with mental problems. That's not the issue. He's nowhere near excusing himself from having intentionally murdered these people.
Any remaining loyalty to Martinez is gone.
She's a crackhead.
She's still talking and trying to win sympathy, insisting Brooks forced her to be his accomplice.
I got burned. I got broken cheekbones. I got all kinds of stuff. I've been tortured. Literally. I've been strangled. I've been hog-tied. Not once. Not one time. I've been abused mentally, physically, emotionally. I love you. 1 second. Can't stand you, you stupid names.
She describes regular threats by Brooks to harm her or her family if she didn't continue to stay with him.
Her mother visits and is shocked by what she sees.
He just totally abused her. He had broken a couple of ribs in her. Her jaw was broken.
The one that picked me destroyed my whole life.
Cody claims that Jeremy abused and beat her, and the question becomes, why would she stay with him?
He always told me that if I left him, that he would kill me and my family. I knew that he was crazy, I just didn't know how crazy he was.
Could she have gotten out of this? Was she a victim? Was she a co-participant? Could she have even been a leader, encouraging the crimes to occur with Brooks in tow as sort of a lunkhead idiot, you know, that kind of did what she wanted? We played out all those scenarios over and over again.
In fact, she had a number of opportunities to escape.
The overwhelming view is that she was far more than just a passive observer, willing to lure fresh victims. Police in Louisville, Kentucky finally get the names of the suspects they've been seeking for the murders of Robert Elliott and Patrick O'Day. Martinez confirms Mr. Elliott was killed on the spur of the moment.
He got mad, and that's what triggered him off. Because if I was going to put us out, he made me want.
The couple stayed in the home, trying to neutralize the smell of death with whatever was available.
Carpet cleaner?
Carpet cleaner?
Like the powdery stuff that you just vacuum up?
Patrick O'Day was another random victim, murdered for his car and to get money for drugs.
He took them off to a trail. And did his dirt, I guess.
Did what?
Did his dirt, I guess. Took him off into the trail and killed him.
She reveals Mr. O'Day's car was abandoned in Minneapolis.
Believe it or not, in a government parking garage.
After hopping trains, the pair ended up 50 miles away and slept in Ruth Overson's barn, carefully observing her and ready to strike.
Please don't hurt me, please. You have whatever you want, but please
Stop
don't.
crying. Don't worry about it.
He was telling her that he wasn't going to kill her or anything like that, you know, but she tried to leave. And that's when he started to get violent.
No, please don't.
And then he strangled her.
During each murder, Martinez claims she froze.
I was like, can I go? What will happen? I mean, I just didn't know. I was fear-struck. Jeremy was still outside, and I'm just thinking that, you know, something's going to happen. She was going to be the next victim. I was like, why do we got to keep doing this? I just didn't see any point in any of it.
My life is over. The way I see it.
I know if I don't have my medication, then I have a tendency to be not good.
Jeremy Brooks is indicted on 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder and 1 count of intentional second-degree murder and the death of Ruth Overson.
I will never forget the complete lack of remorse that was shown by Brooks.
Prosecutors plan to seek the death penalty for the murders of Robert Elliott and Patrick O'Day.
He found out the jury was going to decide whether to give him a lethal injection. And at that point, he decided to ask us for life without parole.
Martinez claims her boyfriend revealed to her why he killed so many times.
He likes to see the scary look on people's face. He told that.
Also, an old adage applies in Jeremy's case. Dead men tell no tales.
On each count of murder, I'm sentencing you to life without parole.
Jeremy Brooks is sentenced to life without parole in Kentucky and Minnesota, and is currently serving his time in eastern Kentucky.
First word that comes to mind is animal, but I'm an animal lover. He's a self-centered, arrogant individual who enjoys killing people. I don't know what kind of word you give for that, because I don't think animals act that way.
Martinez pleads guilty to abetting the murders. In total, she receives 30 years and is behind bars in Shakopee, Minnesota.
She definitely feels like she shared a responsibility, and she's constantly asking God for forgiveness. She's not whining about it. You know, she's doing what she's got to do. She says, "Mama, please be strong." She says, "I need you to be strong." She says, "Because I'm going to be in here for a long time."
Martinez now claims she's seen the light.
I was totally lost. It's been a really eye-opening experience being incarcerated, and it gave me a time to just reflect on my life. And it's been hard to do that. My life has changed tremendously, and I have changed just as a person.
The former lovers no longer communicate.
He destroyed my life. I mean, I'm in prison for 30 years because of him. Why would I want to have contact with him? No way.
In Louisville, Kentucky, a photo of Patrick O'Day hangs near his empty bar stool.
Patrick is missed every day, and it's nice to be able to walk by and look at the photograph and smile at him.
In Slidell, Louisiana, Joe Welch feels lucky to be alive.
Man, I thank Lord every day I wake up, because I know I could have been dead.
The wicked attraction between Jeremy and Cody is that they filled each other's missing parts. These were two emotionally damaged people. After Cody and Jeremy had killed the people, I don't think that they